Hello and welcome back. I'm Mindy. So today on this video we're going to talk about personality types and the change of a personality type. Can that happen or not? Is that real that the personality type changes? Because we have had maybe ourselves, I even had it myself, that at some point I got one personality type and later on I got another personality type. And many people are saying like, I was an INFJ and now I am an ENFJ. So I don't know. I want to talk about that subject because I see it a lot within the MBTI community. All right, so let's dive in. So I believe that the personality type does not change. So you have one personality type, which means like the personality types means that that's your preferences of cognitive processing in your brain. That is a kind of given, I would call it given, yeah. So it seems like you think or think in a certain way since you were born, but behavior is a different situation. So you can say that later on in life you are going through certain stressful situation or trauma that made you maybe feel or behave as in depression. So you felt depressed, or you were going through codependency or narcissistic displays because of situation, how, I don't know, whatever situation was happening around you. So therefore you were behaving differently. That doesn't mean that you're a different person. That means that you were choosing through subconsciously, through whatever was happening in your environment, to act in a different way. So let's say if, for instance, an ENFP like myself, it's normally led by extroverted intuition, which is always looking into the future and connecting patterns and always seeing all of the possibilities and looking at the best, always looking at the positive side of the things. Whenever they're going through trauma experience, they would probably not be using extroverted intuition as much as they would do without that, after or before that period. And instead, they will be very fixated on what happened in the past. Why did my partner cheated, for instance? Why did they do this? And why did other partner before also cheated? And just to give an example, so they would start ruminating and they would start blaming themselves and thinking they're not good enough and all of that. That is more connected to the introverted sensing than to extroverted intuition. Just to give an example. So if that ENFP would take the test during that period, let's say that period can last a month, two, or a year or two, I don't know, can last for any period, they would probably get a different result. I've seen people commenting on my video saying like, I was an ENFP and now I am an ISTJ, which is the total opposite, which means that they were first utilizing more introverted sensing, then extroverted thinking, then introverted feeling, and lastly extroverted intuition. So it's like all upside down. And this doesn't mean that the person has changed. It means a lack of, in my opinion, lack of self-reflection. Because when you reflect beyond, when you're doing the test and you reflect beyond of, you know, your current tendencies, let's say with the test, you answer the questions that are more sensory than intuitive, right? You score higher as an ENFP. That means that you are not looking or diving into who you really are outside of this situation. So it needs the test for be accurate. It needs a lot of self-reflection, and it needs for you to think of your the answers not only under the light of a particular situation where you are at now, but for you to look in a more broader way and try to see what is your tendency, your most natural and common tendency outside of this trauma period. So that's a way that you can get a more accurate result. I conclude that it does not change the personality type. I have one example of myself. When I was working for almost 3 years, I was working in an office environment. And during that period, I took a bunch of tests because of the company. I took Enneagram, Myers-Briggs as well. Actually, I didn't get any hooked by Myers-Briggs at that time because I just did the test and that was it. And when I checked the results later on, I got a bunch of times ENTP instead of ENFP. And also as Enneagram type, I got 8 wing 7. But later on, when I was out of that environment, which was very rigid for me, I think I had to be more in my thinking mode often because I was coordinating stuff. And that was actually not the type of job for me. But anyhow, that was pushing me to be more into my sensorial and in my thinking part. So I got a result as an ENTP. The thinking was higher than the feeling back then. And then the second, my Enneagram being an 8 instead of a 7, it's like, wow, this is really, when I was reading, I was like, I'm not that aggressive, I think. But I was doubting it still because the 7 was the second result. So in the end, when I was out of that stressful period, that was really stressful for me. I was feeling almost like a different person. I was being pushed to be organized and, to kind of, be a person I was not. And when I was out of that situation, I was feeling back again who I really am. I'm the ENFP basically. And also when I read the Enneagram, I remember for the first time during my job, I saw number 7, and I felt like, but I think I'm more than number 7 than the number 8. But anyhow, when I did all of this tests later on, and I was more like, not only more self-reflective, but I was also feeling more in my zone. I was just like, this is really me. I'm not the ENTP at all. I even don't like debating. So just to give an example. So my point is, go and if you have doubts yourself, go and think through the questions. Do not think, if you're now in a trauma moment or in a depression moment, try and think through who you are outside of that situation, because that's most accurately who you are and what your real results are. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video, so don't forget to leave your comments and say whatever you think of this video, if it was of help for you as well. And now I hit my hands, so I was not that smart. All right, till next time.